Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce Lunch and Learn webinar. Today, we are very excited to have the Healy Brokerage firm to be here to discuss what they do in insurance, as well as myself, who will be discussing how we can help your businesses from New York Life. With that being said, remember, hold all questions till the end. Just put them in the chat box and we will call on you after both presentations are done. With that being said, Gilda and Mike, go right ahead and start.
Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Healy, my wife Gilda Healy. Together we are Healy Brokerage, and we will be talking today about the hidden gems of insurance. Did you know?
First, what is insurance? It's an agreement between the insurance company and you, the insured. This agreement provides you with a service called coverage against things that can go wrong. Let me see if I can. There we go. Things that can go wrong, called perils. And it also tells you how much they provide and what they provide. It has terms and conditions as well. That's what an agreement does. How much they provide, where you are, what you own, or what you do. That's very important. That determines the class of business you fall into. It's all about guess what we want to charge you. That's what insurance is about. Now, since we know what it is, we're going to tell you what it's not. It's not a thing that you pick out because you like us. It's something you need or something you may want to insure. Be very careful about, how low can you go in the price? It's not about who's got the slickest advertising campaign, like the gecko, isn't he a cutie? Or like a good neighbor. And we'll talk about the she shed a little bit later. How low can you go? Be very, very careful. You get what you pay for. Cheap is expensive. We want you to have the right coverage for what it is that you're doing. Now, insurance policies, they come in a few different forms: home, apartment, or condo. An apartment and a condominium are two different things. Be very careful of that and its contents. Commercial buildings and or contents. And one of the most important coverages you can get, loss of income. Right now, COVID-19 is not a covered loss. Unfortunately, for the riot and the civil commotion and the looting, that is covered. We also have, we can also get for you on your behalf, floaters, coverage for jewelry, artwork, and yes, computers fall under that. And it falls under your contents coverage, those computers. That's something you, believe it or not, you can pick up and walk out the door with before someone knows it's gone. And then there's liability. To paraphrase Billy Joel, liability is such an ugly word in insurance. It really is, because with a fire or a flood or theft, either it happened or it didn't happen. But liability has shades of gray. Did you fall because you have something with your health and you passed out? Or did you trip over the carpet? Did you trip over the doorstep? Did you eat something that did not agree with you because of the way it was made? That's why liability is tricky. And it's even more tricky for the people in the professions. Did they document what they did? Did they give you the wrong treatment? That's that too. Now, I'm going to show you some, as soon as I can. This is a visual example of the difference between a flood policy and a property policy covering water damage. And I'm going to come down a little bit. The next slide, here's that word again, liability. It's an ugly word, and it comes in a couple different forms. And wherever you obtain liability insurance, personal liability under your homeowners. Professional liability is generally a separate policy of its own. Liability for the business, for products you sell, services you give, mainly products and services and the premises. When people come to your office, make sure the carpet isn't rolled up that somebody will trip on it. Silly things like that happen, and they generate some pretty nasty claims. And then, of course, this doesn't mean you take your umbrella to work on a rainy day. What this means is you can get excess over the liability. Now you see why it's so ugly, and it's got to have certain underlying conditions before you can get this kind of insurance. That's very, very important. Let's talk about some of the gems that are out there. If you own a home or condo, do you know that that policy covers identity theft? And identity theft today means somebody breaks into the house and steals stuff from you. It covers what they steal and the damage they do. It extends further today towards credit cards, and there are sub-limits on every policy. It depends on the company. Somebody gets hold of your credit card, usually the credit card company will get a hold of you right away and tell you, someone has your credit card, and it happened to me. I left my credit card at the doctor's office. Somebody picked it up and tried to buy $500 worth of cigars. I don't smoke cigars, and they realized that it wouldn't be a typical expenditure for us. Another thing, if you're having your house renovated, if the contractor leaves behind his tools and the materials for the renovation, and somehow it gets damaged because you forgot to close the door of the shed where he left it, and somebody walked off with his tools and your supplies, only while he is working for you are you covered for that. You can file a claim for that. Workers' compensation. That's another thing that's going to become very, very important. And Bonnie Preston told you about that, and she also told you about employers' practices liability. Workers' comp covers the worker if they're injured on the job. It also covers the employer for claims brought against them by someone who was injured. A typical kind of claim like that would be somebody who injured their back. They got up to put something in the file cabinet, slipped and fell and hurt their back, or they reached too high and couldn't get in and hurt their back. And those claims go through the process of examination to make sure that the employer's policy, which is the workers' comp, will pay for that kind of injury. Workers' comp also depends on the level of disability that you get to if you are injured on the job. They don't just pull out the checkbook and say, here, we like you, here you go. No, you have to go through the process. That's important. Those of you who are in the real estate business, or those of you who are lenders and mortgage companies, we know that you ask for proof of insurance. That insurance will tell you that we're going to take care of you because you were nice enough to loan us the money to buy the house or the business. And we are going to go according to the terms that you offer us, where we have to say ISAOA, its successors and or assigns. Mortgage company name, ISAOA, and then they throw in ATIMA as their interest may appear, because that varies from situation to situation. And now banks are acquired once by one another all the time, and they just want to make sure that in the event that there's a total loss to that property, they get their money back. Also, you don't always need flood insurance. If you are told to get it, everybody in New Jersey lives in some kind of flood zone. There are some places where it is a special hazard flood zone. And many people who don't have mortgages don't carry flood insurance. Okay, Mike, tell them about John.
Okay, we have a friend of ours who we know through the Knights of Columbus. Lovely man, very active in the Knights of Columbus throughout the state of New Jersey, and a former oil executive. I won't mention the company, but he lives about maybe 15 minutes from us in Belfort. And for those of you who live in the Middletown, Seabright, Long Branch area, and you hear about the wet side and dry side of Highway 36, well, he lives on the wet side, only about a block from the highway. However, in 2012, when that young lady, Sandy, showed up, our friend did not have flood insurance because he didn't have a mortgage on his house. And he figured he was safe because he was so far away from the water, far enough away from the water that he didn't need the flood insurance. Okay. However, the tide, the water came up Main Street in Belfort, all the way up to his house, and it flooded out the first floor. I know that for a fact because many of our council's members went to his house to help him do demolition, to try to have him save money on it, on the demolition. That it was one less thing he had to worry about. So when you're in a flood zone, yeah, you don't have to have flood insurance, but you are, to be honest with you, playing with fire if you don't have it. I know it may be an extra expense, but floods are not covered by the homeowners, right, honey?
That's right, and they're not covered by property insurance. And they put that warning in your policy. One other thing, even more important now in our world today, if you have homeowners insurance and somehow somebody trips and falls in your house, or your kid by mistake throws a basketball through your neighbor's window and breaks an expensive Ming vase, and your neighbor comes after you and tries to sue you or gets a lawyer to appeal on their behalf, all you have to do is take the summons if you get one, the letter if you get one, and send it to your homeowner's insurer. That's what they do. They have people that spend their day doing all that kind of work. Better them than me. I wouldn't have patience to do that, but it's an important coverage. Okay, the next one, in your business, okay? Most important right now is loss of income. COVID-19 is not a named peril. If it is a covered loss, such as fire, riot and civil commotion, lightning, malicious mischief or vandalism or theft, identity theft, the damage done by that and the loss of income because you can't work anymore. COVID-19 is not, the COVID-19 problem isn't covered right now. That is going to take a process through the legal system, and it's going to take a few years. My guess is probably in another 2 years, there will be a provision for pandemic. I do know from one of our members that this Donna McMarron, I'll mention her name, she was able to get that kind of clause in a commercial lease. And I'm sure these people are very happy about it. When you reopen your business, follow the CDC guidelines, the gloves, the masks, the sanitizer, keep the social distancing, okay? Take care of your employees when they come back to you. They're your best asset. Make sure they have adequate workspace, supplies such as printers, computers, and any other computer or any other device they need to do their job. And if you don't have a company handbook, you might want to get one and spell out the company's procedures. That's also something, companies that have a lot of sales help, and some reimburse the sales help for renting a car and other kinds of sales related work expenses. Make sure that's clear. You don't want to spend your time hassling with people and hassling with the Department of Labor. And even more important, we've got people here in the chamber who can advise you on how to put those things together so that you don't have that problem if it arises. And last but not least, as I said with the home policy, if you are given a letter of demand by attorney or you are given a summons to appear in court, all you do is turn it over to your insurance company and they will send somebody down there to speak on your behalf, file the letter, file the motion, or whatever legal work needs to be done. Don't ever be afraid to ask a question. That's what you're paying for. It's a service, and the service is there to assist you. Other little kinds of liability insurance. Now you know why we say in insurance and use Billy Joel's song, it's an ugly word. For those of you in the legal, medical, even travel agent, and now hair salons, you went in there to become blonde and you come out with green and white stripe, that's a problem. Anybody makes a claim against you in the work you do, file it right away with your insurance company. If it's a letter of demand or summons, turn it right over. They're more than happy to answer on your behalf. And I want to end this little talk, cyber liability. We keep telling you it's a good referral for us. And Bonnie Preston told you the same thing. Don't go hide in the closet and say, oh, it's not going to happen. Hackers find their way in. You may have done business with somebody that didn't like the way you did business with them, and they turn around and get into your website. And in most cases, many websites allow you to make payments. Somebody with an axe to grind and wants to get even with you can do it. And they can do it so quickly that you can't even measure the nanosecond they do it in. Also in cyber liability and in professional liability. Professional liability too now is open up to cyber, because many attorneys, I know for a fact, accept the transfer of funds in a real estate transaction and things of that nature. Same thing if you accept payments through your website for your business. People purchase services or products from you, and for some reason, they don't like you, they can get in there and shut you down. Not everybody does, but be careful when they do. Pay the extra money for the loss of income. All you have to do is prove what it is that you lost. And with the insurance company's help, the two of you form a partnership, you figure it out, and they help you get compensated. When you are paid for a loss, spend the money on the loss. That doesn't mean you pack your bags and go to Disney World. You can't even go there now. It doesn't mean that. First you fix what got damaged, then you pack your bags and go to Disney World. Just keep that in mind. People do that all the time. And we're going to just sum up on behalf of my partner and I. 2020 is our 6th year in business as Healy Brokerage. So everywhere from Niagara Falls
to the shores of Cape May, we've got you covered.
Gilda and Mike Healy, Healy Brokerage, like us on Facebook. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Gilda and Mike. That was very informative. I'm sure a lot of great information there. If you have any questions for Gilda and Mike, just go ahead and let me know in the chat that you have a question. And as soon as I am done, we will get to those questions. So something that Gilda touched on near the end of her, she said, as employees are coming back to work, you want to take care of your employees. And that's honestly what's going to be the focus of what I'm talking to you about today. But before we get into that, I just want to tell you a little bit about the company that I represent, and that's New York Life. New York Life has been around for 175 years, as you can see right behind me here in my virtual background. In those 175 years, we have paid out billions and billions of dollars of benefits to our customers. Now, when you think about longevity and how long New York Life has been around, keep one thing in mind. The United States as a country has only been around 244 years this July. So New York Life has been around 175 of those years. So we've been around a long time protecting families and protecting businesses. Now, New York Life is a mutual company. What does that mean? Policyholders are the ones that have ownership in the company. You cannot buy shares of New York Life. You can't go to the market and purchase shares. The only people that have shares are policyholders. Why is that important that we're not a public company? When we're looking at the direction of the company, when we make decisions, we're not doing it in order to move the stock price and move share price for shareholders. We focus on the long-term needs of the policyholder. So when we make decisions, we think of their best interests. Now, there are lots of companies that rate financial institutions. And when you look at the rating New York Life receives, we have the highest ratings by all of them. So when you're working with New York Life, you're working with a great company. And one other thing that leads to our financial strength, tomorrow, should every single one of our policyholders pass away, we will be able to pay out every single one of those policies and still have $25 billion with a B in surplus. So we are very strong financially. So how can we help your employees? Our business is to take care of your business, and we have many ways that we are able to do that. First, we have a large suite of employee solutions to help out your employees. We also do business solutions, personal solutions, and executive benefit solutions. How do we do all that? When it comes to employee solutions, we can help your company with group term life insurance. We can help with individually owned whole life insurance, group disability insurance. We can help with long-term care and retirement strategies. Now, why is this important? Why is this something as a business owner you should consider doing for your employees? In the course of our business, and two of my team members are here on the webinar today. Hello, Tim. Hello, Louie. Thanks for joining us today. But when we're out when we're out making calls to people to talk about what we do, a lot of times we hear, oh, I have my life insurance at work. Oh, I get this at work. I get this at work. Well, if you as a business owner aren't offering this type of benefit to your employees, there's a good chance they might not have this type of coverage. So by offering this at work, number one, you're enhancing your benefits for your employees, but you're also showing them that you care enough about them and their families and their well-being that you make this type of an offer in the workplace. So it's something that you would want to consider as you're bringing employees back. There is a deadly virus out there, and you never know who's going to catch it and how it could be and how it's going to affect them. So it would be good practice to at least take a look at this type of coverage, and it could cost you nothing as an employer, or you could pay for it for your employees and take a tax benefit, but you would be helping them and their families. So it is a discussion you should have with one of the many different insurance people that we have in the chamber. Hopefully it'll be me, but there are many others that would be happy to talk to you about this. We also do business solutions. We can do buy and sell agreements. We can do key employee protection. For example, you have a high-ranking employee and something were to happen to them, they get into a car accident and you lose this person that helps you produce business and you don't know what to turn. You can have insurance on that key employee to help you attract, retain, and bring in a new employee, so it helps protect the future of your business. We can help with retirement planning, disability income and buyout planning, and strategies for business successions. We also help for personal solutions for you as the owner. We can help you with personal life insurance, personal long-term care, retirement strategies, educational funding, and do educational workshops. And the last thing we do is executive benefits, which executive compensation, executive bonus, deferred compensation, and long-term care carve-outs. Now, I want to show you something about our disability income and why that is important for your employees. So take a look at this here.
If one of your employees was injured or became ill, could they afford to take a few weeks off? What about a few months? How about a year? Did you know that 70% of Americans would find it difficult to meet their financial obligations if their next paycheck were delayed for just 1 week? As a business owner, what if you had to take an extended leave due to disability? 1 in 4 workers will suffer a disability during their career. At New York Life, our group disability insurance doesn't just cover injuries and illnesses, but maternal leave as well. This coverage can include employees, executives, and business owners. Plus, we have different options that could offer tax benefits to business owners or voluntary plans paid by employees. And what's more, our small group plans come with a 5-year rate guarantee. Talk to a New York Life agent to find a solution that could benefit you and your business.
So how does offering this type of insurance help you as a business owner? A lot of employees, as they're working, sometimes will get distracted of what's happening at home. If you have an employee that's distracted because if something were to happen to them, they don't have the proper implements in place to protect their families for things that were covered in that video, like the rent and the food and the mortgage, they're going to stress out. You can help relieve the stress of your employees by helping them put the right protections in place so they don't have to worry about that should something happen to them. It's a good practice, and you'd be doing, again, your employees a service by putting them in a protected place. Another way we can help employees is with our guaranteed issue whole life insurance. Now, this only works for employers of 50 or more, but let me put you in a situation. Say you have employees who have had some medical issues in the past and they can't get personal life insurance. For example, they might have diabetes. They might be recovering from breast cancer or any other type of cancer. They might have had a heart attack or a stroke. Those are some instances in which you can't get insurance personally. But if you were to have a guaranteed issue whole life program, those employees would be able to get covered because these issues are guaranteed. You'd be helping employees that would not be able to get insurance elsewhere get insurance for their family. And we're able to do that at New York Life. And we would love to have those types of conversations with you. We also have a simplified issue life insurance policy. Why, again, is this important? A lot of times, as we said, in the course of business, we hear that employees have their life insurance at work. If they have a group plan that's paid for by the company, should something happen to that employee where they leave their job or you unfortunately have to lay them off, like with what's going on right now, a lot of employees have been laid off. They could lose their coverage and leave their families unprotected. With a employee whole life policy, those are portable and they can take them with them and have permanent protection for their families for the rest of their lives as long as they're paying their premiums. So again, you'd be doing your employees a service by helping protect their families. But also one of the things that we do at New York Life is we can protect their families as well. Their spouses can get life insurance through your workplace. Their kids can get insurance through the workplace. They can cover their whole families and it's completely voluntary and the employee would pay for it. So these are just some ways that we are able to help your employees with benefits. One of the other things I want to show you, one of the other things I want to show you here. So back during the big game, since I'm not allowed to use what it's called, we debuted a video and I want to show it to you now.
The ancient Greeks had 4 words for love. The first is philia. Philia is affection that grows from friendship. Next, there's storge, the kind you have for a grandparent or a brother.
Let's go.
Third, there's eros, the uncontrollable urge to say, I love you. The 4th kind of love is different. It's the most admirable. It's called agape. Love has an action.
This is good.
It takes courage, sacrifice, strength, For 175 years, we've been helping people act on their love, so they can look back or look ahead and say, we got it right. We did good.
So, agape, love as an action. What I'm saying to you is show your employees that you care about them. Show your employees that you love them. Take action and put these types of plans in place to help protect not just you as the employer, but your employees and their families. Help protect them now and in the future. Show them that you care and take action. The last thing I want to touch upon is you as a business owner. So you as a business owner are working hard. You're providing for your families, you're protecting your employees, and you're saving for retirement. So how can New York Life help you save for retirement? Right now, a lot of us have been conditioned to save for retirement in something like a 401k, where you're deferring taxes now only to pay them in the future. So you're saving and you're saving and you're saving for your retirement, for your family, for your future. Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that taxes are going to be lower in the future or higher in the future? Just take a look at this. This is the US debt clock. Right here is our national debt. Right now, we are almost at $26 trillion in national debt. How, as a country, are we going to be able to pay that down? There's only really one answer, and that's raising taxes. So right now, you're saving for retirement by deferring your taxes now into a 401k, only pay them in the future. How can we help you at New York Life? So let's take two scenarios. Here, you're saving in retirement in a 401k, and when you reach retirement, you want to have $100,000 in retirement income throughout the year. So you're saving in a 401k at current tax rates, that's 25%. So throughout the year, you're going to get to have $75,000 of liquid income. Now, say you had some of your money saved away in life insurance, which grows tax-free and is not adverse to the market. So when the market has a downturn like it did a few months ago, or even worse, think about 2008 and 2009 when we had a recession. There are some people who are going into retirement and went to bed one night and woke up the next morning and 34% of their retirement income was gone because it was devastated by the market. Should you have saved part of your retirement in life insurance, you'd be creating a foundation, a safety net.
Hi, Beth. Good to see you.
Hi, Gary. So you'd be saving for the future and you'd be protecting what you earn, because as the market recovers, you could be taking out from your life insurance policy tax.
Right.
So how does this work? Same scenario, $100,000 in retirement. You take $50,000 out of your 401k. You take $50,000 out of your life insurance policy. You've now reduced your taxable income to 15%. You're only paying $7,500 in taxes. You're getting to keep $92,500. As a business owner, someone who's been working their entire life to provide for their family and working towards retirement, which would you rather have, $75,000 or $92,500? Talk to any one of the insurance agents within the chamber and they can help you with this. And we are glad to do so. With that being said, does anyone have any questions for myself or Gilda and Mike? Just let me know in the chat. We did such an awesome job. You guys have so much information that you guys don't have any questions for us. That and half of you sell insurance on this call right now, and you just want to see what the competition does, which is fine and fantastic. And I hope that you found what Gilda and Mike had to say and I had to say pretty much on par.
Yeah, I might have a few things to add, but we won't cover that now.
I'll go right ahead. We have plenty of time. Look, Al, you know very well that I just want everyone to be happy. Feel free to add to that.
I'll wait for the perk.
All right. So no one has any questions? Well, great. If you do have any questions, feel free to.
I think, excuse me, I think we just wowed them. And this kind of information has to sit with you, and all of a sudden it's going to dawn on somebody, why didn't we ask about? And that's when we'll get our questions. You did a great job too. Frankly, I can see us referring people to you.
I appreciate that.
Insurance.
All right, well, if nobody has any questions. Hold on, there's somebody's got something going on in the chat.
Yes, I see it, Tamer.
I think that's going to be for you. I don't cover that.
Okay, liquor liability, can I see that question again?
It says,
No, it's not a question. This is Chris. What's going on?
Okay, now, somebody asked, I didn't bring up liquor liability at the moment. I was trying to keep it as brief as possible. Now, after you guys bring back your employee and you want to have champagne and celebrate, yes, you are covered in the event that one of your employees becomes a drunken fool, swings from chandelier to chandelier, gets behind the wheel, drives a car, and God forbid gets into an accident, hurts themselves and someone else. That host liquor liability, thank you for the question, Chris, that host liability covers you for that incident. Many years ago, I handled a claim for the Jack Daniels Company. We all know who that is. And one of their employees was at the company Christmas party, got himself drunk as a lord, got in the car, drove home from the party, got into a serious accident where there were 2 deaths involved in the accident. The company's insurance policy paid out $1 million. In addition to that $1 million, the insurance company in question went into Chapter 11. So they had to wait for the court to decide on that open claim. The family from that policy who should have gotten $1 million got $10,000. And everybody thinks, oh, we're going to get all this money. When you're given that kind of an award, it's not because we want to give you all that money. They try to do a statistical thing about how much your earnings would have been, depending upon your age, over a lifetime, what kind of medical bills you're going to get. That's where that comes from. That's where that comes from. And yes, do be careful. If you're bringing people back, let them have a drink or two, but, just be careful. That's the best advice I can give you. Same thing with a restaurant owner. If you serve liquor and you've got a liquor license, make sure you get liquor liability. I've seen that happen where somebody made the rounds and you were the last stop of the night, the last drink, person got involved in an accident, not just where property damage, but where people are injured. I had a claim like that many years ago. Twice it happened to the same guy. We offered him liquor liability insurance. He is paying off 2 judgments of $150,000. He's still working into his 70s and 80s. And we offered the liquor liability. He didn't want it because his father didn't have it. Some family traditions you don't carry on, and this guy wouldn't understand that. So never be afraid to ask us questions. That's what we spend time learning about. And when we come to talk to you to sell, it's not just about the sale, it's about understanding what it is you purchased. And I think Tamer's shaking his head. I think he says the same thing in different words.
It's all.
Yeah, just to make note too.
Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There's also an endorsement on your homeowner's policy. So you could add an endorsement, and a lot of the carriers, there's no charge. You just have to ask your carrier or your broker. Where if you host parties at your actual house, for example, if someone gets in a car after drinking and they left your house after a party, a barbecue, for example, and they crash and they kill somebody, they can actually sue the homeowner. So I just mentioned it because we're getting into barbecue and party season. So I thought it was just a good point to bring up, but it's awesome job on the information.
Thank you for the compliment. And yes, and again, just to give you an example, we will be celebrating our silver wedding anniversary on the 24th. And when we planned our wedding, it was our decision, not because we don't like you, but what we did. On all the tables, we had beer, wine, and soda. Most of our guests did not drink hard liquor. My cousin is happy with a couple of glasses of beer. You got a happy man. We had for the cocktail hour open bar, and then through the reception, you had to buy your own drinks. But on every table was enough wine, beer, and soda to make people happy. I'm not saying that that would work for you, but just think about it, just to pick up on what Chris brought out. Good point, Chris. Thank you.
If no one has any more questions, with that being said, we have another webinar, Lunch and Learn webinar next Tuesday. Claude LeBlanc is going to be talking about leadership in the current environment. For those of you that were not at the Perk breakfast a few Fridays ago when Claude did 15 minutes, it was so well received that we are giving him 45 minutes. You do not want to miss this Lunch and Learn. It is going to be fantastic. Recording of this webinar will be posted on the Chamber Facebook page and Chamber Member Network tomorrow so that you can refer to it or share it and let other people learn great information that Gilda and Mike presented today, and you could be helping one another. The last thing that I wanted to touch upon, as a chamber, we're here to help one another. As I mentioned, a lot of us here do insurance. If you have questions, call any one of us and we will all be happy to answer those questions for you and help you out. We are here to help one another. I don't see my fellow chamber members here and board members as competition. We all working in the field to help one another. There are so many people out in Monmouth County. There are a lot of us. We're here to help you all, and there's enough work to go around for everybody. So when it comes to insurance, in my opinion, you work with people that you trust. If for some reason I'm not someone you trust, feel free to call anybody else that's on this call or within the chamber and get to know them and work with them. But we are here to help. We're, as Gilda said, we're not here to make a sale. We're here to educate, we're here to help, and we're here to protect. And we do it through education. And any one of us will be happy to do that for any one of you. That being said, we hope to see you at the Perk on Friday. We still have that going strong. On Wednesday, June 17th at 4:30, we will be doing our first happy hour virtually. The board of directors is inviting you to be our guests at this virtual happy hour. There is no cost to it. We just want you to come, hang out, mingle with the board, and we hope that you'll have a good time with us. Have a great rest of your week. What's that going to say?
Yeah, the percolator, you have Laura Matlaga on Friday.
Yeah, Gerald this Friday. Laura's 2 weeks.
Okay. We have
So Gerald Yossi will be speaking this Friday at the Perk. The following week is
Laura. And then after that is going to be Jim Ross.
Yep, that's correct. So we hope to see you at the Perk on Friday and then the webinar on Tuesday. Have a great week. Thank you all for attending and stay safe. Wash your hands. Thank you, everybody.